Hi everyone, my name's Debbie Ireland and I'd like to welcome you to this M365 May webinar on task management. So hopefully everyone's managed to join okay, and you can see the live Q&A on the right hand side of the screen, and let's get started. So I'm going to ask Josh to click me over to my presentation. So just so that you're aware, you do have the Q&A on the right hand side here, and please feel free to ask questions at any time. Josh is my trusted helper here, helping us answer them all, and I will pause throughout the presentation to answer any as we go. There's a link up the top to leave the event if you want to, and you can toggle to go full screen down the bottom there. And if you are using Microsoft Teams, you'll see your usual navigation sidebar to the left. Okay. So first of all, I'd like to just do some traditional welcomes and acknowledgement, and you can have a little read through that. But given we are an Australian and New Zealand event, we would like to pay respects to elders in both countries. Code of conduct for M365 May is here. And again, I'll just pause for you to have a quick read through that. And just a bit of an introduction on myself. So my name's Debbie Ireland. I'm coming to you from the sunny Bay of Plenty in a place called Tauranga in New Zealand, for those who don't know about where I am. I have been doing a 321 tips series which is on YouTube, and actually Josh is going to post all my how to get in touch with me if you want to have a look at them, but they do have some short tips and tricks both on Office 365 topics and on some of the more personal development, softer skills stuff that I love so much, and that's how you can connect with me. I work for a company called Share the Point, of which I'm the founder of, and we are all about digital workplace training. So we do lots and lots of Microsoft 365 training, lots of virtual classes just recently, especially during the lockdown period, and all sorts of topics, and materials, self-paced courses. We look after virtual help desk, providing ongoing support and help where customers need it. And we also organise the digital workplace conferences, which very sadly have had to be cancelled this year. And I think as much as all these online webinars and virtual events have been awesome, and it's so good that the community is getting together and we're sharing all our knowledge and everything, I can't wait to get back to in person, where you can actually see the people that you're talking to, because this is really hard, and also be able to discuss with the people in the room things that are going on, and just that whole connection that you miss in this online world. So can't wait for that, and we'll be back in 2021. So let me continue. Today is about task management, and I most certainly love lists. My background has been many years of project management, including organising the conferences, which are just big projects every year. But I've loved learning and reading all about all sorts of productivity tips and seeing the gains of putting different things into practice. One thing I read this last week I thought was really relevant, and that was that productivity software should be something you use less than the thing you used before. And I thought, wow, isn't that so true? Because I'm sure email was an extremely productive tool in the beginning, and over time it's become so misused. Our inboxes are full with all sorts of requests and tasks that people try and give to us through email, and there's lots of spam. The threads are too long and complicated, and people reply all to different messages and everything. And I think what's key here is we need to try and remember that We don't want Microsoft Teams and the communication productivity software that we're using, including the things you're going to see today, to become the same. We want it to be something that makes our life easier and make sure that we're using it less than the things we were doing before. So yeah, that was my bit of gold for this week's learning. But anyway, today's agenda. So I'm going to start with a few task tips, and that's just from some favourite things that I like to think of when I'm thinking of productivity or task management. And then I'm going to jump into 3 demonstrations which are covering the product side of today's presentation. First one's on personal productivity, all about the To-Do app in Microsoft 365. And the next one is about team tasks. Sorry, I'm just going to go back one because my slide just told me that I lost connection, but I'm hoping that I'm still all okay. Okay, team task, which is about planner, and then the third one is about pulling it all together. So those are the 3 steps we'll work through. So to begin with, let's look at some statistics around productivity zappers. And the first one has to be digital distractions. I think the stats say that about 25% of our time is spent dealing with the incessant stream of data, which is costing the economy and the companies that we work for millions of dollars. Apparently, highly skilled workers spend 28% of their work hours reading and then replying to email messages. But it's not just that, it's actually the time that you pull away from a project to check your phone or your Twitter feed. It takes 1,395 seconds or 23 minutes on average to regain your focus. So the distraction is more about decreasing the focus, sapping the creativity, increasing the anxiety. And if I had one tip at all, it would be go to your phone, go to all the social media apps and turn off all the notifications and only look at those apps when you actually need to, or when you block the time to do so, rather than having them constantly notify and distract you from what you're doing. The second statistic is that apparently 98% of the population does not multitask well. That means that only 2% of us, I say us, I shouldn't say that really, but are good at multitasking, and that these super taskers are the outliers. So for most of us, we're actually not multitasking. We're shifting backwards and forwards from one task to another. And this is bad in so many ways. It's actually damaging to your brain because your brain is not designed to split its attention, or it's not capable of doing that. So it causes high level of stress from the release of stress hormones and adrenaline, and your quality of work is definitely less. I guess there's a few different types of multitasking, one being that you're performing 2 tasks simultaneously, or you're switching between them, or you're just performing one very rapidly after the other, which again is considered multitasking. But all of this brings about the productivity loss, and that statistic is apparently 40%. We're 40% slower, or we're reducing our productivity where we're switching tasks. So when we've got distractions and interruptions, it says that workers are interrupted every 11 minutes and then spend a third of their day recovering from these distractions. So the tool here is how to actually reduce the distractions and the interruptions and increase the productivity. One book I love, if you haven't already read it, is called The One Thing. And Gary Keller says, what's the one thing you can do such that by doing it, everything else will be easier or unnecessary? And the approach is all about getting to what you want. And to do that, it's by narrowing your concentration down to one thing. And you can see here the picture of the domino effect. So what's my one thing right now? And then that success is built sequentially, one thing at a time. And so over time as well. So success builds upon success. And the key is that it is time. So you do one thing today and you have a daily goal to weekly goals to monthly, yearly to the someday goals. So it's all about focus and it's all about setting priorities. And I really like some of the stuff he talks about. One of them is the difference between having a to-do list and having a success list. So I'll go through some of the things to explain what those are. On your to-do list, it's all about survival. It's about getting through the day and just ticking things off the to-do list and all the things that you have to tick off. Versus on a success list, it's about having those stepping stones, which are actions to the next goal, the next task, action, or whatever. It's sequential. On a to-do list, it's usual trivial stuff, often unimportant, versus the focus on essential on the success list. It's long, most often on a to-do list, whereas it's short on a success list because it's prioritized and focused. And on a to-do list, you're going to be pulled in all directions versus being aimed in a specific direction. And just on that fact that it's long and so forth, I think, well, if you're anything like me, I write all these lists and I have this long list, and then I'll typically go and approach the things that I know are easiest just because I want to get that endorphin hit and tick the things off and know that I've actually achieved something. And then I'll get to the end of the day and go, well, actually, the most crucial things I was supposed to be doing still haven't got done because my list was too long and I was just doing the things that were easy to give me that hit. So yeah, my to-do list is usually a disorganized directory as opposed to an organized directive, which I quite liked as well. And I guess if you look at the 80-20 rule, then you'll see that 20% of the average workday is spent on the crucial or the important things, while 80% of the average workday is spent on things that have little or no value. And that's the difference between your to-do list and your success list. The other key tip when it comes to task management for me is time blocking. And the focus here is to focus on what matters most, what's the top priority, but for a period of time. And there's a couple of different techniques I wanted to talk about. The first one's the Pomodoro technique on time management, and Pomodoro is a tomato in Italian. And it's called this because there's a small plastic kitchen timer which is shaped like a tomato. And the idea is you set the kitchen timer for 25 minutes, and then after 25 minutes, you have a 5-minute break and go for a coffee or a walk or get outside, get some fresh air, and then you go back and you do another 25 minutes. Now, those 25 minutes can be used to determine how much effort or how much time it takes you to do a particular thing. So you can work out that a activity or a task is going to take 4 Pomodoros or whatever. Or it could be that it's just to block the time and stop you from getting any, using your Pomodoro to protect you from external distractions and interruptions so that you're absolutely focused for that period of time. The other way is, and this could be things like that focus could be batching time, so only checking email for 1 hour and a consolidated time in the afternoon, or 25 minutes and then another 25 block, or whatever you want to do. Robin Sharma, if you haven't heard of him already, wrote, gosh, The Monk Who Sold His Ferrari, The Leader Without a Title. The 5 a.m. Club is the one that I'm referring to here, and that's got lots and lots of productivity tips. I really like his stuff also. And one of them is that he talks about the 90-91 rule. So for the next 90 days, your first 90 minutes at work need to be focused on your single most important project. And I've been doing this actually for most of this year, and I'm absolutely amazed at the benefits. For me, I'm a really early riser, so I make it very, very early in the morning. I'm not allowed to have any other apps open in my on my laptop. So no email, nothing, apart from the one that I need to do the project that I'm working on. And I focus for that period of time on that one project. So you see the benefits sequentially over time. So it's a really nice little way to get productive. And the productive time is the other thing where you do have to work, as I said, my time's early morning, but you do have to work when you are the most productive. There are statistics that show that employees do their hardest work between 9 and 12, and after that the productivity tends to drop. So if you can, focus on the outputs rather than the inputs, what you deliver in terms of results rather than sitting at your desk for 5 hours. And if you can work when you're most productive, if your job and your employer allows you to do so, it is definitely a good idea. Okay, so let's now take some of that and put it into application world and see what technology tools help us with our task management. So the first of the demonstrations is about personal task management. And I did love this quote too. 10 to 12 minutes invested in planning your day will save at least 2 hours of wasted time and effort throughout the day. That was by Brian Tracy in Eat the Frog. So true. The first part of this is about personal task management. So I'm looking at Outlook, and which we use all the time, but if you use the task management part of that, then taking a look at that, and then the To-Do app, which is within the Office 365 suite. So it's all about working where you're most comfortable and being able to have everything at your fingertips. For me, this is sometimes when I'm on my mobile, when I'm in Outlook, and I'm doing other things. I still want to be able to get to everything within whatever app I'm using. And sometimes it will be when I'm using the To-Do app specifically. The big thing is it's all connected. So it helps me to highlight the things to focus on for the day and over the next few days. And I love the fact that I can control how it's organized. So the key things, I think, are that it's with me wherever I am, it's integrated, and that there's features that can help me focus. Okay, so just showing how they're together here. I have the two apps, Outlook and To-Do, and you'll see in the demonstration that Outlook, I can go to Outlook, flag emails, and they show up in To-Do. I'm just trying to show the relationship between these apps because I'll do this throughout the whole presentation. And then from To-Do, you'll see that the tasks are synced back to Outlook if you want to be inside Outlook and make that the place where you're working. So let's jump into a presentation, into a demonstration. Okay, so I like to start in Outlook and look at my emails, and I might have some that need flagging, so I can easily choose an email and flag it for follow-up if they require an action. So I'm going to flag that one for today, and we'll come back and take a look at where that's going to appear later. My list of tasks can be completed down here, which is where the task list is within Outlook. And if I want, I can actually open up the entire list of tasks. So if you've been using this, you'll be familiar with it, but with a few things different. You can see the complete to-do list, and it's a great way to see the things you've got coming up and when they're due. And I can also choose to change the way that the view has been arranged. So I can see it by the type, whether it's a message that's been flagged or whether it's a task that I've set, and also by the folder. The folder view we'll talk more about when we get to the To-Do app, but you'll notice down here that these are actually individual lists of tasks that I've created. So it's a way for me to categorize my tasks. And I can create these lists and name them what I want. So I'm going to drill into one particular list, like this demo one here. And from here, I can look at the individual tasks. So I can mark one as complete. I can go ahead and if one's not got a date, I can assign it a date or flag it. And if I decide that one actually requires a bit more information, I could set up a meeting to discuss that exact task so that it links back to it. Go ahead and invite some people in. Make it a Teams meeting. And then send it. So that's from Outlook. Let's now take a look at the To-Do app, which I've got open here and pinned as an app on my taskbar down the bottom, which makes it really easy to get to. Note, I use this a lot on mobile, but I'm just showing you the desktop view here. I've got lots of different views here. Tasks that I've marked as important. Ones that have been assigned to me, and we'll come back to that when we talk about the Planner app. Emails that I've flagged, like the one I just did before, and my general tasks that are not categorized into any particular list. So here are all the lists that I showed you from within Outlook, and I've chosen to create groups, and underneath those groups, they're my lists. So I can further categorize them if I want to. This one here's my personal ones, and I've got a whole group of collaboration ones, and then I've got one called strategy. In my planned view up here, I can see all of my tasks that have a due date, regardless of which list they belong to. This one was a flagged email. This one was from the Shannon and Debbie collab list. And I'll even see tasks assigned to me in the Planner app. So it's a holistic view of the things I need to do, and it's in date order. Creating a new task can be done easily. So I've forgotten to put the rubbish out lately. So let's create a task, put the bins out, and I could actually assign this to a particular list at this point, like an at home list, and I can add a due date or a reminder. And in this case, I need it to happen every week. So I'm going to set a recurring appointment for that task. So as we talked about before, you can have tons of things going on, but you need to either flag specific things as important, which you can do so they appear in the list here, or examine exactly what you want to achieve for today and focus on that. And that's what the My Day filter is all about. For example, if this item is something I'm focusing on today, I'll add it into my day. When you open up a task, you can see the detail. This one has several steps. I can set up a reminder, make it recurring, and see other details as well. And I'm going to add this one to my day as well. It might be also relevant to focus on a task even if the due date isn't today, like this one. I'm going to add that to my day as well. So looking at the My Day filter helps me see the 3 things I've targeted as being the most important for me to focus on today. The To-Do app gives you some suggestions for things you might want to add as well, because they're overdue or they were in your My Day list yesterday and didn't get ticked off. And you can add them directly to your My Day from here or ignore them. Just a note on the to-do list or the task list that I showed within Outlook. This view here is actually from Outlook in the web app, and you'll notice that the to-do, when you click on to-do within Outlook in the web, it's very much like the to-do one. It mirrors the to-do app, so it's a lot more visually the same than what the task one that's been around forever in Outlook is on the desktop. Okay, so team task management is next. And why team task management? I guess a few things. To check on progress, to motivate and hold each other accountable in your team. And it does definitely save time by seeing what's been done with a glance so that you can move on to what you need to be doing. It provides transparency over what needs doing, who's going to do it and when, and gives a bird's eye view as well as a detail of what is required. You can link in relevant files and notes, and you don't have to spend time looking for what's needed, which means that all your information is in the one place. And I really like the reporting, which is simple and a visual representation of all of the tasks, so you can see them in calendar format or see all the integrated bits that you need to actually do the decision making that's needed from a management point of view as well. So as far as how these pieces fit together, we have Outlook and Planner, and you'll see how Planner sends notifications through to Outlook, so we get emails. And I don't have this as part of my demonstration, but you can actually see a calendar view of all of your tasks for a particular plan inside Outlook if you want to. Okay, so this next demonstration, I'm going to start in Outlook again, and I get email notifications. So I'll be emailed when comments are added to tasks inside of Planner, so I stay alerted without even needing to go to the Planner app. And I get an email when I've been assigned a task with a direct link to Planner. So I'm going to click on that and open up the Planner app. So the Planner app I've opened is the app within Office 365 called the Planner one at the top here, and I'm within the Planner hub now. The new task that I've been assigned to has opened up, and the information about this task is on the card. There's lots of things that I can update, so I'm going to do a couple of those here. This is now in progress. Its priority level is important. I'm not so worried about a start date, but I do want a due date on every task, and that's important for views later. There's a space for a description, and you can break it down into steps. I'm going to put in brackets the initial of which person I think needs to be completing each step, so it's clear who's doing which part. This is just a way that we work internally. And it seems to work well because you don't need an individual task for every single one. People assigned to the task are up here, and Patrick needs to be added. So we can add him up there because he's responsible for this step with his initials. I can also link to other relevant files, so I can figure out where they are within the team and add a link to that file so it's easy for people to find. And if I want to, I can show the checklist of the steps on the card so we can see what it looks like on the overall task board. I can add in comments, and then they're recorded against the individual task as well. And they're all kept down the bottom here. And now we can see all the relevant progress and resources and everything we need for that one individual task. I'm categorizing this task using a label. Changes are saved automatically, and I can go ahead and close the task. This is the board for the operations task plan, which is my plan for the operations team that I'm part of. So because I'm in the Planner hub, I can see multiple plans that I have been added to or I'm part of, and some of them are listed down the side here. The Planner hub allows me to choose which plans to bring front and center and favorite to see the overview of a particular one, or remove from favorites if I don't need to see it. So it gives you a good overview of what's happening across all my plans, a good visual one. There's a My Task view, which shows me all the tasks assigned to me, and I can group them together in different ways, like by plan or by the due date. Let's take a closer look at how our plan is organised. So I've clicked on the operations tasks. Buckets categorise the tasks, so you can define these buckets. For example, if I work in one area of the team, I only have to look at the bucket that relates to me. You can choose what to display for each task on the board, so that it appears on this board and with the relevant information showing. Like the task I updated before, this RFP review, here's the label I added, and I chose to show the checklist. This task is showing the document that's been attached instead. One thing we've found really useful from a process point of view is to add all the relevant links in the attachments section. So not only can we tick things off, but you can see here a link to a conversation, a OneNote file, a video, a document, anything that's related to that task. It means you don't have to go looking for it. And you can see again all the comments down the bottom that are in a thread. So the whole process is actually managed through each of the individual tasks, which can then be ticked off as they're completed. So we can change the way that tasks are displayed by grouping them, for example, by the due date, which makes it really easy to see where something might be late. And in this case, it has been highlighted as an important task. So especially it's late and it's in the late one, it's been marked as important. So I want to find out why it's late. And so to investigate, I take a look at the comments that have been written, and oh yes, I can see why, which is pretty useful as a manager. I can get to the information without actually needing to be assigned to that task. If I group the tasks by who they're assigned to, I can gauge workloads and assign or reassign resources using the drag and drop. So that's really handy. And I can also assign another one. So I've got none unassigned. And I can change the grouping to suit what I need at any time. The schedule view is quite handy for checking every task has a due date. So I can easily just drag and drop them onto that particular date to assign one. And then the chart view gives me a graphical overview of what's happening. As a manager, I want to have the anomalies highlighted, things like what's coming up that's late from a priority point of view, what's happening in each bucket, or across the resources that I have on a particular plan or project. Okay, I'm going to allow you a couple of seconds to scan this code because there's lots of things being given away, and this gives you the opportunity to win something. So please scan that QR code and you might win a prize. And Josh, have I got any questions that I should be looking at? Okay, cool. Hopefully you all did that. So I'm going to jump back into my presentation. Okay, the third one is about bringing it all together. So this is about managing, we've looked at managing just my tasks. We looked at being part of a team plan, and now we're looking at using Planner within teams. Okay, so how the integration points work, we looked at flagging emails, syncing tasks, notifications and calendar, and now we can see how Planner also integrates backwards and forth with the To-Do app and sits within the Teams dashboard or the Teams application, which means that we also get things like notifications and chat. We can be part of our usual team channel, which means we have all the other functionality of that and access the hub from there. Okay, so let me start this demo from To-Do. And I just want to show some of the integration points. So first of all, Planner. The assigned view here displays all the tasks that are from all the different plans I belong to. So I can look at this view, open up the task directly from To-Do and add a date or change the date if I want to, or I could actually add it to my day, or I could complete it from here. I can also do that exact same thing from my plan view. Note that you must put a due date against any task for it to appear in the plan view because it is in date order. The other thing I find really useful are shared lists within To-Do. So I've grouped all my shared list under the group heading called Collab. And we use this a lot for when I do catch-ups one-on-one with my direct reports. And rather than sending lots of emails when we're not in the office together, when we catch up, we can just quickly run through the list of things. So this particular list is shared between Shannon and I, but I could manage the access or invite someone else into it. So it's great because as soon as I think of something, rather than sending an email, I just update it here on my phone usually. I can add a step. I can go ahead and add it to my day if it's something relevant for me, or I could assign it to Shannon, but in this case, the list is only for us, so we don't really use that so much. I can look at the notes and so on, and it shows up on Shannon's list anyway. I can go ahead and create a new task. I'm going to call this review the OneNote course and mention Shannon, and then she'll know when she looks at her To-Do that it's been added. And I could also put a reminder or schedule a date, and that'll appear on our list. If something's been done, I could also go ahead and move it to another list, so it gets taken off this list and taken care of in another list. Or again, just tick off things as we meet and catch up and get that good sounding of approval. I can also scroll down and see what's completed, which could have been updated by either Shannon or myself. You can right-click on any of the lists to see a few extras. So I can duplicate, move the list, share, and so forth. But you can also pin it to the start bar if you use that in Windows. And when you do that, when you click on the Windows key at the bottom left of your screen, you'll see that I have my day one here, and so I can see it at a glance. And then I've also got 2 other projects that I'm working on at the moment, nice and easy. So if I click on them, they'll automatically take me to the list that I need to see. Okay, I'll move into Teams now, where we can see a lot of this information being pulled together. So I'm on the activity feed at the moment, and you can see I have notifications every time I'm assigned a new task. So I can easily look at them here. And I've also got an unread chat, and this comes up for me as on my planner as a chat as well. And I've pinned it to the top of my chat so that I can come in and I can see everything in one place here. From the same place, I can actually view the My Task view, which is the same as what you get in the Planner Hub, but right within your chats within Teams, which is kind of cool. And I can change a view here to view things by plan if I want to, just to see a roll up of everything in the one place. Or I can go and look at things from, or I can get to the Planner Hub, sorry, directly from there, but I can look at things from a Teams-centric point of view. So if I go into Teams, and here I'm part of the operations team, and I know it's only limited to the people that have membership to this team, but in this particular channel, I can access all of the posts and the conversation, but might have a notebook linked in, and I might have forms, and at the same time, I have the plan that we looked at before. And I can see that as a tab at the top. I've got all the buckets. I can choose to change my grouping, look at another view. I can look at the charts and the schedule and everything else, and go ahead and update everything right within the team and right within the interface where I'm working. I can also expand out to get full visibility or go directly to the Planner app from here. So it's just to show you that everything I was doing in the standalone app can be done within the Teams environment without me needing to go anywhere else at all. I'm going to show you a little tiny demo of this because what's coming is called Tasks in Teams. And that again is an even better way of pulling everything together. So on the left-hand side here, you can see how Task is going to become part of our Teams navigation down the left-hand side. And then we're going to see this list view that'll be within our Teams interface. So the main things it does is it consolidates the personal task from To-Do, the team task from Planner into one comprehensive view within our Teams interface, given that's usually, if you're using Teams, where you live most of the time. This list view is kind of cool because you can see all of the lists, but again, very similar to To-Do, and then all of your plans are shown all in the one place within this task view. So it's basically, doesn't mean that Planner or To-Do are going away. It just means that it's this team tasks and teams is just pulling that information from both those sources. And I believe they're going to add more to that. So just a quick little look at that from a video I found. So you can look at what's assigned to you, and then you can see the teams here with these new list views, and then you can click back to your boards and your charts and your schedules and so forth. But you can see it's all within that Teams interface, which is kind of cool. Okay, I know I'm running out of time, big time, or not big time, but nearly. So just before we get into Q&A, I just wanted to tell you a little bit about what we do. So we have all sorts of Microsoft Teams and Office 365 classes, virtual classes, which means you get a live instructor to ask lots of questions and learn all about the things that you need to. We have self-paced courses, which reduces time in searching for search results that may not necessarily be relevant or up to date. And we have all sorts of ongoing support. So digitalworkplacetraining.com. I want to say thank you to our sponsors, and also thank you who without all of them we wouldn't be able to put on M365 May, and it's been an awesome effort by the people that have organised this and all the presenters to pull together such a wide range of topics for everyone to watch. Up in the top corner here, if you want to scan that code, is just a very quick 2-minute survey on what you thought of today's demonstration and what you think we could improve on, or what you'd like to see more of, or just how you found it. I would really, really appreciate that. And Josh is also going to put that link in the chat for you. And then I'm going to open it up and see if anyone has any questions for me. Oh yeah, so just on that note of does Planner have, do Planner comments within the task get emailed to the assigned person? Yes, although you do have to switch something on to make sure that your tasks that are being assigned and your comments are being emailed. You can switch it off because some people find it annoying. Do you have any training for OneDrive? We do a OneDrive course, which we can do for your whole organization if you just want one privately, or public or self-paced. What else, Josh? Was there anything else I needed to there? Has anyone got any other questions?
Debbie, Michael had a question about what people assigned to task have permissions to do, like changing dates or adding steps and things like that.
Yeah, so the permissions are very much based on the team. So if you have permission to the plan, you have permission to update all of that stuff, which I know from a project management background that can be not so good if you want to lock it down. So really the idea is that it is collaboration. It is about the entire team being able to update and change anything they, as a team, whoever has permission to that plan. Or that team has permission to that plan. You would have to put it in a private channel if you wanted to lock it down, but then everyone couldn't see it. So no, it's open the whole way across. Sorry, that was very wishy-washy, but hopefully you got that.
We also have another question, wondering how you start your day. Is it by checking the mobile to-do app or going to the web version?
I use the mobile one. I find the mobile one really good. But I do also have the desktop version on my taskbar, as you saw, because I find that really easy just to do, things on bulk. So I do actually use the desktop one more than I used to, actually. I showed the Outlook one, but I don't use the Outlook one as much at all. I definitely go directly to the to-do app for myself personally. What else, everybody? No other questions? Okay, well, thank you very much, everyone. And I hope you found that useful. And thanks for attending, and go and enjoy some other sessions that are out there. See you later.